Welcome back to The Talk. Former US President Donald Trump and 18 of his allies have been charged with trying to overturn his 2020 election loss in the state of Georgia in the US. They are accused of launching a criminal enterprise to overturn the result of the vote count in Georgia, having demanded officials find extra votes. Among the 13 counts brought against Trump and his associates is conspiracy to impersonate a public officer, which means trying to persuade someone to betray their office, as well as forgery and racketeering. A leaked phone call recording that emerged in 2021. Here's Trump pressuring Georgia's top election official to find him 11,780 votes.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state. I only need 11,000 votes. Fellas, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break. There's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
Former Republican Congressman Joe Walsh has no doubt that this legal challenge will bolster Trump's chances in 2024.
This is going to strengthen Donald Trump politically, not just with his base. I've heard from plenty of Republicans who are not big MAGA Trump worshipers, and they're pissed off about this. They think it looks like it's Democratic piling on. So I think this will help Trump politically beyond his base.
And this is Trump's fourth indictment as he looks to reclaim the White House next year. He's facing 78 other charges, all of which he denies and has denounced as a witch hunt. So it's not just one witch hunt now, there's 4 witch hunts, right? There's one in Florida, there's one in New York, there's one in Washington, D.C., and now there's one in Georgia. And, I mean, Joe Walsh and I had a bit of a set-to as witnessed by Nicola a few weeks ago, and he lost his, well, I can't say what he lost, but he lost it.
His rag.
He did, thank you. I didn't think I could say that either, actually, but thank you for that. I had him back on the show today, and he's convinced that Trump has done something wrong. He's convinced, and he always says, well, don't you think if he's committed a crime that he should be brought to justice and all of that? Yes. I think the trouble is with all of this, he's also right to say that people are more likely now to support Donald Trump if they're Republicans, certainly more likely to give him money. He's further ahead in the polls than he was before the first lot of indictments dropped. And like it or not, the people who support Donald Trump are not convinced by any of this stuff.
Why is that?
And in Georgia...
What's going on there?
Yeah,
well, in Georgia in particular, I think is interesting because they brought in the RICO statute. And the RICO statute was actually introduced in New York City by Rudolph Giuliani when he was the Southern District Attorney. And he used it to get the mafia because the mafia were very good at avoiding charges as well. And they were like, not that I'm in any way suggesting that they're connected to Donald Trump, but, so they introduced this conspiracy charge, which basically said, look, if we can get them all in a room talking about something, that's a conspiracy. And that's effectively what they're trying to do here. But it's kind of unprecedented to use effectively Giuliani's own laws against Giuliani because he's now one of the co-conspirators. So I just think it's such a mess. Again, it's showing America up to be a very sad place.
But if you
as
take
a democracy.
that, I mean, that phone call sounds like, well, that's it. You've heard the evidence.
Yeah.
But it doesn't actually.
I was just about to say, a good lawyer would very easily spin that in a totally different way.
You can spin it because he says it's one more vote than we've already got. So he's basically saying they've already got
11,000.
One
correct
more votes.
No,
right?
but he means the state.
Well, I don't know what he means.
Not looking.
You do.
I don't know what he means.
You're not that dim.
No, but you can't just assume. In a court of law, you can't say that.
There's 91 charges against him. It's not that single one.
Yeah, but that doesn't make him guilty.
No.
When I heard that video, the voice
recording. Phone call.
When I heard the phone call.
Voice note.
Welcome to the future. When I heard that, I did think that could easily be passed off as him saying, guys, there's obviously some kind of mistake. Find me the votes. Go back and have a look. Right. Find me the votes. That's how I
any lawyer would be. All you've got to do is convince a jury. Are you absolutely sure it wasn't that? And they're going to go, well,
it's beyond a reasonable doubt. That's the problem.
I think what is clear here, if there is someone who is running for president, which is Trump at this point, who has 78 charges leveled against them for a variety of different things, from accused of rigging votes to paying off Stormy Daniels. There's a whole range of charges against him. I think that enough is enough to say that this person is not fit for the office of president.
That's dangerous talk, Matt, because that means if people decide to get together and make enough accusations about somebody, then they can't do whatever job they wish to do.
People are making
and he hasn't been found guilty of anything, and I suspect that he may not be.
No, and I agree he hasn't been found guilty of anything
But you
yet.
can't just say...
Do you think he was a good president?
I think he actually was a good president, yeah.
Do you think he deserves a second term in office?
I don't really care whether he gets a second term in office. I think that he certainly deserves to be able to run, and the Constitution says that he can. And if enough people want to vote for him, put him in. It's not my country.
And
I think he should be able to win.
With those indictments, not all of them are prison terms. If he gets a £50,000
there's fines,
sweet.
Absolutely. But if the tables were turned, right, and it was Joe Biden that had 78 charges levelled against him, and it was, Donald Trump that was in office, he would be saying there's no way that Joe Biden should be able to run. No way.
No, he wouldn't be, because you can't say that.
Of course he would. Of course he would.
What I would say is that Clinton did lie under oath and served as president. Like, we can't have one rule for Trump because he's a Republican, a different rule for Clinton because he's cool and he's married to a woman.
Can.
No, we can't. No, we can't. Clinton was a bad guy too.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying we can't.
He's agreeing with you.
No, I don't agree.
So I should agree with you.
Fear agrees with you.
The problem is it's now in the land of the unknown, which is various different courtrooms around America where various different decisions can be made. And just because things are alleged, it doesn't make them right. Even if you want them to be, I'm afraid. I don't like Donald Trump particularly, but I think it is a witch hunt and it will backfire on the Democrats.
Well, moving on.